very true. You know, but what again, you have to look at resisting frame hit a lot of roadblocks that MadMega was able to get through in certain stages. I believe Airman and Metalman specifically this time in Game 1. But it looks like we'll see what happens. Looks like they're both headed off to Flashman to start off Game 2.
Yeah, Flashman being one of the two quintessential starting stages. Easy to get E-Tank, not many death traps. But right now, we got some Joes and fans infesting the area. As our enemy randomizer just seems to love these guys in this stage. Added bonus for the Joes being Buster immune.
Yeah, getting blow there from the fans and getting Buster immune Joes. You're unable to dance on this stage, I can say.
So for right now, we got our boys going on even keel. Resistant frame taking a slight detour. Probably taking a slight detour to get the energy from there, but kind of questionable move because he took quite a bit of damage from the blocky that was standing in his way. He had probably negated the possible health increase that he had.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough taking that E-Tank with that fan guy down there. Well, pause buffers, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. By the way, did they test the walls? I didn't even pay attention. Do we see if the walls are Buster weak?
No, neither of the runners took a shot at the crash walls. So right now we still have no insight as to what could be the crash wall weakness at this point.
Meanwhile, we got a very interesting quick man in Flash Room. Very high jumping and able to vertical wrap below from the ceiling. And this is a very Buster resilient quick man that throws a lot of boomerangs. And these guys were not able to get the E-Tank to help sustain themselves thanks to our good friends at the finishing position.
Oh dear, these Olympic jumps with the... Wow, these are like stars. They're shooting boomerang like stars in every direction. Well, resisting frame has to take another, but MadMega luckily continues.
Quickman is one of those bosses that I really do not like facing in rooms like this. Very, very hard to keep a balanced track of him, and especially when he's strong to the Buster as he is now, it pretty much becomes a dogfight and just a good old-fashioned slug at us to just try to out-damage him, which is really hard to do in these kinds of situations. But Resisting Frame was able to handle it like a champ, or rather Quickman just got kind of cornered like a chump and just took the pain.
You got that right. And meanwhile, Mega drops down a couple of lasers, gets his first E-Tank, and that life that will recover him to normal 2 lives, I think. And we'll have to face some Tin Can guys again, which proved to be very durable. And Rest Frame also joins him on quick.
Now, these tin cans are proving to be rather durable. Just, wow. Even in the first game, they would take, I think, 4 shots before they would finally be able to crush the tin can.
Actually, the vanilla game, if we're talking about the original Japanese version, which is the US difficult mode, it actually takes 2 shots to kill them.
Yeah, you see, kids, even on easy difficulty, these tin cans can be a real issue. And not only them, if we speak, every particular enemy can be a big issue and even harder. Imagine normal now. Well, I'm not gonna talk about it. Sometimes it's a pain.
Yeah, normal mode is a completely different beast in and of itself. But yeah, we won't talk about that right now. Right now, we're gonna talk about Mad Mega getting into the quick boss room and fighting Flashman.
Oh, a pretty vanilla, kind of low jumping Flash, or normal, let's say normal.
Trying to see if bubble was a weakness. He's pretty much bubble immune. Yeah, low jumping. Personally, I particularly dislike low jumping bosses. Low jumping bosses have a really hard time to. Usually have a hard time trying to defeat, but right now it seems like Mad Mega is not having as much trouble, but he pretty much gets by Flashman by the skin of his teeth.
Did you see how
very lucky?
Did you see how lucky that pattern, that shooting pattern from Flash was? He shoot it everywhere but Mad Mega. Everywhere.
And if he would have hit Mad Mega, with Mad Mega on 2 ticks of life energy left, that would have killed him.
It looks like our heat is the weapon we got from the Quickman stage, and it's an auto charge, so we got ourselves some supercharged heat action and pretty generous weapon consumption as well. Mad Mega making good use of it through Airman stage.
Yeah, always use that sweet Kamehameha when you have it. It's just cleans most of the enemies. Most, I say most, because it's fully charged and it's really good. And Mad Mega makes no exception. And Rest Frame actually at the same, almost the same HP as Mad Mega completes Flash, which is always good. So he will join him now. I think he doesn't go air third though. And by the way, a quick note, both of the runners got item too.
And both of them are on the same warpath. Like I said, same mind and body. Resisting Frame following suit and going to Airman just as Mad Mega is about slowly approaching the boss corridor for air not too long now.
Oh, and an interesting gimmick. I kind of think this is true because it happens in my runs also. The fire guys, the fireheads, or whatever you call them, I think they're always immune to heat. In my runs also. Can you confirm that, Creed?
Actually, before I explain that, we got a dumb crash.
Oh, walkies! We have walkies!
We got a dumb crash. And Mad Mega got himself a friggin' gold mine of a boss. Like I said, boss AIs are random. For Crash, yeah, sometimes you can say that's no AI at all. That's pretty much just a free boss kill.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was about the freest Crashman that I have seen, and I've seen a good bit of the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament so far. Resisting Frame seems to be, I guess, feeling the pressure of being behind. Took a death on Airman, which resulted in a game over, and it looks like Resisting Frame chose to go over to Metal Man.
Yeah, I think that's the only logic thing to do. If you're feeling pressured, you want more E-tanks and more safety, just go metal. I've seen some runners go metal even first for the 2 E-tanks. So yeah, I understand him perfectly. And Mad Mega is gonna attempt Bubble Zip right now, pause buffering. Let's see how it goes.
Look, he got a really good setup. This should be it.
Yeah, he's where he needs to be.
Even triggering. Wow, okay, dude. Extra safety on the zip. Let's go.
But yeah, and back to the subject of the Chanky Makers for those fire guys. That's actually one of the more interesting things about them. They are probably the only enemy in this game that doesn't have a randomized weakness. They're always going to be immune to heat. They're always going to take one shot from air. And they're always going to take a set amount of damage from specific weapons, such as bubble, metal, and leaf shield, actually. So the Janky Makers, if you see them, you know they're going to take a set amount of damage. You know you can always one-shot him or do whatever you need to if you have your weapon available for him.
Yo, I guess that because it was happening a lot, and I usually switch to Buster or something else. That works good for me. And Mad Mega found Metal. What's strange about Metal in this arena is he jumps really high because of water, and he bonks his head on the ceiling. That results in him shooting more metal blades, or jumping towards Mega, which finds his weakness, which is Bubble.
Speaking of Bubble, we got Bubble in Metal Room. We pretty much got another role reversal here. We got Bubble in Metal and Metal in Bubble.
5 bubbles with resisting frame shooting more bubbles. Oh wow, I feel like in my bathroom, dude. This is going so well.
Oh, that's so disgusting. For a short while, there were 7 bubbles out on the screen, and it looked like Resisting Frame was just crying out in agony as his screen was just getting sprite lagged into oblivion. Oh, so gross.
Pretty much a lesson to everyone, do not take bubble baths in Mega Man 2. They'll slow you down quite a bit.
Meanwhile, guys, Nitro Man. That's one of my favorite soundtracks from Mega Man 10. It's a beat fun, always makes for a good track. And as we speak of Nitro Man and music, the music in this randomizer is really good. I really suggest looking at the soundtrack list. If you play this, you're gonna find a lot of good tracks.
Oh no! Just getting sniped by that little frog, taking a death while he was literally cruising through the item 2. As fate would have it.
I think it was in Mega Man 2 Vanilla also with frogs, right? And you need to do a certain jumps to dodge them. If I remember correct. I may be wrong.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Resisting Frame just having a pretty rough time and just taking another game over. It's looking like it's going to be another rough set of seeds for Resisting Frame. But he's going to try to do Bubble Man yet again. This time nailing the item 2 fly.
Yeah, he got the item 2. I guess fast forward through that first section. I think he just took the game over because he looked at his inventory screen, saw he was on 0 lives, and just, alright, I'm gonna reset my lives just in case I mess something up.
Meanwhile, Mad Mega takes out Bowman, and a little vanilla-ish weakness as we find that Metal is pretty strong against Bubble Man. It's almost coming full circle.
Indeed.
Frame looks like he's going for the bubble zip, but not from the same way I see most others doing it.
Resisting Frame is actually trying to do the vanilla style zip that you normally try to do in actual speedruns in Mega Man 2, trying to utilize the item 1 and trying to position his sprite inside the ceiling and try to zip through that way. Which means, 1, we got a pretty good item 1 this seed, and 2, unfortunately, he just couldn't seem to get the correct position to complete the zip. He was in the ceiling, he just couldn't do the right trigger in order to finish the zip.
It's a good thing to note that this item 1 is really good for the randomizer, because item 1 can be randomized. His vertical movement and his disappearing from the screen, his duration on the screen can be randomized. This item was really good. It's just there are 2 approaches of the zip. B trigger, which is by facing right, and A trigger, which you can do when you go up the ceiling. So it didn't work out for Resisting Frame, but hey, he continues without dying, so it's all good.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is Final Fantasy IV music. I believe Red Barons that we're hearing right now.
Yes, it is. if I can give myself a moment, I can also figure out which hack this came from. I want to say it's from Abnormality, but I'm about to find out right quick.
It doesn't sound like exactly like it does in Final Fantasy IV.
It even sounds more epic here.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Who let you in here into the commentary booth again?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, Resisting Frame beats Metal Man in Bubble Room as MadMega's about to fight his next boss, Woodman in Wood Room. A little more vanilla action for your mega needs.
Is this even randomized? Come on now. Alright, well, we know that Resisting Frame has 4 bosses defeated at this point. Now we'll see where MadMegaX is in comparison.
And he gets item 3, MadMega, and going to Heat. Then I think he has all the items needed, item 1, item 2, and item 3. Now he can perform, if he wants to, both of the zips in this area. So let's see what he does. And oh, the Vanish Inquisition again. Let's see. Lord, please have mercy. No.
I think MadMega just kind of made a mistake there. He might have decided, oh, I don't want to live in this world anymore. Get me over into the other stage I have left over.
Well, it's because you're kind of expecting another Fengai there. So yeah, that probably threw him off.
Yeah, off topic, but yeah, about the Final Fantasy IV Red Wings take. Yeah, that was Abnormality. So I was right. Just a little off topic there. But yeah, MadMega going through Heatman stage pretty cleanly in spite of the Fantasy Inquisition just pretty much trying to stop his movements, while Resisting Frame is about to almost takes a death from that Phantom Crusher hitbox. Don't know how it happens, but it does.
Yeah, I believe that the Metal Crusher explodes for about a second, and if you touch the leftover explosion, surprise, you're gonna take a bunch of damage as if you just got bodied by the Metal Crusher.
Oh, meanwhile, MadMega gets that 4-framer and continues with item 2. I think he switched. Yep, indeed. Puts it up a little bit further behind, so he gets close to the ladder, not bonking the wall, which is good. And Resisting Frame goes to Heat. Good. Let's see. Both of them are having good time. I think Res Frame died a little bit, but I think he gets a good grip on the game right now.
Now, unfortunately, I believe Resisting Frame is about a stage and a half behind right now.
Well, the death he took to another fan guy that sent him straight to the lava pits is not going to help much. Meanwhile, MadMega easily makes waste of Airman, who was in Heat Room, and that's another Robot Master on MadMega's belt.
Yeah, that leaves him with Crushman only. Meanwhile, Resframe decides to take a game over. Let's see if he attempts this again. A reminder, he has item 1. So I think he can do it if he's too scared of taking those shots and the Vanish Inquisition slowing him down.
I don't think it's so much the Vanish Inquisition, it's just a matter of...
Oh, he's trying the Cool Kid exclusive Heatman zip. Let's see how he fares. Meanwhile, Mega, I think, is preparing for default Clash zip, which is always good to perform. He got a little bit knocked down, but he knows where the ladder is, so all fine.
Resisting Frame is just not in a good position to try that heat exclusive item 1 zip. He's just he gonna try again, but wait, he might have a shot.
He's facing on the wrong direction.
So was he just missing that zip? I thought he was in the right place, so he just missed out because of facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, you need to be facing right B trigger and face left. Well, I don't know. You need to kind of. The positioning was right though. The last positioning was right. Meanwhile, Mega is doing his climb on item 1. He has 3 and he'll utilize this for the rest of the other climb. So let's hope Rest Frame gets out of this sticky situation.
Yeah, trying for zips that you're not quite familiar with is really gonna try to hinder your progress. It probably will be best just to make it simple and just use your item 1s just to simply try to traverse through the stage in and of itself and not try to do zips that you're not familiar with.
I totally agree.
It's pretty much a give and take on what you can do and what you try to do but probably shouldn't.
Exactly, because zips in this game though are very good to execute. They waste more time if they're executed slowly or you don't know how to do them. So if you're not comfortable and you don't know nothing, and you don't know anything, or you don't know the particular zip, just don't do it and save your time.
I mean, it's nice that he tries and he has a setup in mind, but being not well practiced trying to do it could mean more harm than actually missing the zip, even if you do know what you're doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Resisting Frame at this point has just gotten to the point where, you know, get a little, I guess, pig-headed, and just go, alright, I'm gonna do this zip, or, you know, it'll be the end of me, but I'm gonna pull this off.
Well, that's good if you're doing something swaggy, but if not, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, Resisting Frame seemed to be facing left, and, you know, by what you both were saying, you need to be facing right.
No, that particular exclusive zip can be done by facing right with a B trigger or waiting for you to get up an A trigger there, which is, again, I think 4 frames. So he can do it both ways, but I guess, like Creed says, a little bit of lack of practice, so...
Well, meanwhile, we got MadMega finishing his 8 robots as he already defeated Heatman in Crash Stage and ran Wily 1, so... Yep, it's that time again. Guess the color of that dragon. And if you care for extra credit, go ahead and guess the weakness as well. So, as I usually say, Freako, Talentless, have at it.
I'm gonna let you go first.
No, don't do this to me. Don't.
Oh, I'm definitely doing it to you. Because if I go first, you know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, to give more time to Creed, I'm gonna say this is gonna be a yellow dragon, which is gonna be weak to air shooter.
Alright, I'm gonna say a green dragon, weak to quick boomerang.
I'm gonna go with the Randomizer Classic, pink dragon, weak to Buster.
Oh man, that ice cream dragon again. Or that Power Ranger pink.
Or cotton candy, whatever suits your fancy.
Looks like Resisting Frame's gotten to the end of the Heatman stage, and it's going to take on Airman as MadMega is through the Item 1 section, and it looks like might be able to make it through without getting knocked off the ladder.
Has some minor resistance from the squirms, but the squirms really wasn't putting that much of resistance as MadMega was able to finish the climb. But now we're about to see what our fated dragon is going to look like and what he's weak to, as Resisting Frame still has 2 more robot matches to go, starting with Woodman. That is a blue dragon with some green tint.
Okay, it's not a blue eyes white dragon, so it's okay.
And he's not Buster Weak as well, so I'm wrong on all counts.
Oh, I called the green part, but I don't know if I get that one.
Oh, it's Bubble! Nice. Nice. But
Bubble
Bubble seems
for a
to...
different weakness.
Bubble seems to be falling really short. So yeah, he's gonna have some issues.
Yeah, I think I would be trying to find what the other weakness is to the dragon, because, I mean, he's gone through almost all of his bubble energy, and, well, he's out of bubble energy now and still has about 8 ticks left on the dragon.
And we got
quick
boomerang.
boomerang.
There we go, Freako.
What a dragon. But at any rate, MadMega defeats the Mega Dragon and he's on his way to Wily 2. So he's probably gonna restock on a few things. Well, it looks like he's obviously gonna restock Bubble as he pretty much just literally just threw them all away.
Meanwhile, Resisting Frame finds his way to Wood using that Kamehameha. So he'll be fine, I think. He's one-shotting those Tin Can guys. So Mega rides his bike through the E-Tank section. We're about to see what the door weakness is if he wants to take that. I think this is his second E-Tank. If he wants a third, he'll have to test the doors.
And he was in the same position in Game 1 and chose not to pick up the E-Tank.
Oh no, he has only one. So yeah, better take this.
Oh, yeah, he does only have one. I thought he had 2 still, and it looks like, judging by last game to this game, he's definitely going to look for what the crash weakness is.
It looks like we got Buster as the wall weakness, so we don't have to worry about wasting energy just finding the wall weakness for Boo Beam at least, or at least using extra energy. But that's going to still leave a weakness for Boo Beam out on the table. But we get to that later. We're still rolling through Wily 2, and we got a Pico Pico fight that's coming up very soon, which may spell disaster for MadMega if he doesn't do anything about his health. She'll be popping in the E-Tank very soon.
Oh, and by the way, you have a song request. What's this song, LV Creed?
Yeah, as I see in chat, yes, it's definitely for Mega Man 5 Game Boy. It's actually Saturn's stage. A little faster tempo. I want to say it was used for Quickman stage in Rockman Exile.
Wow, you're a freaking Mega Man soundtrack library, dude. Wow.
Well, I do try to collect these things. And looking at my music folder, I am correct. Had to make sure that I'm not giving any misinformation. Meanwhile, MadMega's doing the Pika Pika fight, and we got one-shot bubbles. And I see why. These bubbles are pretty much exact ammo, 28 usage, much less than the usual 50, around 50 plus that you normally get for vanilla.
Yeah, these are some strong bubbles. See in the randomizer. How ammo works is the more ammo it consumes, the more powerful the weapon is. So yeah, this was really strong bubble. Meanwhile, Rest Frame is defeated Woodman, barely, but now he's doing the Clash Climb. So he's pretty close to finishing his 8 robos.
I just want to make things clearer. Bubble is the vanilla weakness for Pico Pico, so yeah. Anyway, we got Mad Mega going through Wally 3. Looks like he's gonna take some time to destroy these walls, especially since they're Buster Week. He doesn't have to worry about wasting any weapon ammo just to destroy the walls and gets himself another quick E-Tank. So he is stocking up on E-Tanks, making sure that his traverse through the rest of the Wily stages is safe as possible, as you see some nasty Joes in Wally 3.
We forgot they're immune. Oh my. Well, that's gonna slow things a bit, but nothing to worry about. He has Kamehameha.
Yeah, I think we saw that in the first stage that I believe it was Flashman for both runners, and they ran into the Joes and they were completely Buster immune.
Indeed it was. But it was a short number of them since it was such a quick section. Well, we got more Joes. Well, we had a Joe. Not that it matters. Anyway, Mad Mega is about to face the Gus Tank. He's still equipped. He's gonna first check for heat weakness, and then we're gonna see if we're gonna cycle through the rest of the. Yeah, we're about to cycle through the rest of the weapons. And it ain't Buster, so the dig continues. It looks like we got yet another vanilla weakness. Right now we got a couple. I think all the Wally bosses this seed has had a vanilla weakness.
Yeah, Dragon was Boomerang, Guts is Boomerang, and Bubble Lead for Pico, so you're right. Another note, though, that I've seen on the resisting frame screen is that Heatman is weak to Clash Bomb, so keep in mind that he'll keep in mind that for refights, I'm sure. It's always worth to find that weakness for the refights and during your 8 stages.
Resisting frame finding plenty of resistance from these prop tops and these Buster immune Joes, trying to utilize the item 2 to fly part of the way, but still got to deal with them before reaching the vertical sections. While Mad Mega, easy, yep, using the crash bomb to take out the blocky, good deal. It was fortunate. Of course, we all know that weaknesses for enemies also are randomized as well. Crash bombs for those stack of tin cans is pretty nice, if I do say so myself.
We have a question in chat. So Boo Beam is weak to Clash? Not necessarily. Boo Beam has randomized weaknesses as well. It may be weak to Clash, but most likely not. The chance is 1 to 8 anyway. 1 to 9, I think, even.
Well, it would be 8 because Flash Stopper is not a possible weakness.
Oh, 8, yeah, correct. I proposed 8 weapons with Buster, but Flash isn't a weakness, so yeah, 8.
Well, we can already take Buster out of the equation because the wall weakness is usually not the Boo Beam weakness, so Buster is definitely not a weakness. So we pretty much got 7 more options to choose from as far as weapon goes to see what the Boo Beam is going to be weak to. But we know that Mega Man is plenty weak to spikes, as Mad Mega takes a death in the second to last spike elevator section.
I was actually going to ask about that, if it was actually possible to have the crash walls and the Boo Beam turrets able to be weak to the same thing.
I don't think that. No. I never seen it in my seed. I don't think that's possible. It should be.
I think I have seen very rare occasions, specifically with Crash, where the vanilla situation has happened, that both Crash bombs were weak to Boo Beam and the walls. But I think that is not supposed to happen, and if it does happen, it's far few and in between because of the randomized seed. But I could partially be wrong on that, but memory just trickling in my head about something like that. So you can just take my word for whatever it is.
Creed, don't play with me or I'll use every time Crash. Every time, dude. Don't. Just don't.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of Boo Beam, Mad Mega is about to face his Boo Beam fight. We know that Buster is the weakness for the walls. He's gonna check the weaknesses for the Boo Beam, starting with, yeah, he starts off with metal. Is that air weakness? That is an air weakness.
Looks like it.
Air is another one of those weaknesses you can possibly squeeze through, but with the randomized attributes of the air shooter, when it might not be as vertical as it is right now, air shooter is usually one of the last weapons you would think about trying to skip through the walls.
That's a really good job utilizing this air shooter that saves him 2 doors. That was really cool. Good job from MadMega. And Resistframe actually, I think, has ammo issues. He's farming for that last climb with item 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, Resisting Frame had taken a death on the dragon. And especially after using an E-Tank, it was unfortunate. And, you know, knowing what we know, Resisting Frame found the bubble weakness, but, you know, I think would have been, much better served looking for the secondary dragon weakness, because that would have been found in the quick boomerang.
Well, Resisting Frame died before his weapon ammo even gave out on him, so he was probably still pot committed to using bubble, and that's why he was farming for energy. And since he already knows one weakness and doesn't want to waste time digging for another weakness, he pretty much just gone gung ho and just want to stick it out with bubble. But as you said, we know that quick boomerang might be a slightly better weakness to use.
I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to search. I have these situations also. When I find one weakness, I know it will take too much time to find the other one, and I may also die, so I respect his choice in some kind of term.
I mean, I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I think with the way the bubble lead is shooting, it's so difficult to land a hit on the dragon. I just can't, again, this is my opinion, and, maybe I'm wrong with, everybody in the chat and you guys, but, it's my opinion. I think the way the bubble shot, with it having such a short arc, you have to get so close that you're either going to hit the dragon and instantly die, or jump forward too far and fall down, like Resisting Frame did in the last dragon fight. Knowing that there are 2 weaknesses for the dragon, however,
it just depends on a lot of stuff. If you feel comfortable, like this bubble is highly spammable. That means if you have a good mash and you know the dragon pattern, you can kill it really fast. But it depends on the runner, solely on the runner. Meanwhile, MadMega is on his last refight, and he did pretty well. I think he used 1 E-Tank, so now the Buster Weak Woodman, no troubles with him at all. Let's see the Wily Machine.
Oh no! Resisting Frame just went through all that trouble to dodge through. It looked like the dragon had shot out like 5, if not more, bolts all at the same time. Oh, so savage.
Meanwhile, we got Buster Weak Capsule. Ooh, it was cutting it close. The iframes were wearing thin, but MadMega was still able to beat both phases of the Wily Machine, and he's about to pretty much take the final victory as he's on his way to the alien.
Yeah, MadMega is now on victory mode. I think, to be honest with you, I think falling to the left is probably not the right play. Just because I'd rather test the items first and know what I need And, you know, okay, I've got the 2 item energies waiting for me if I run out. And let's do Alien Take 2 and finish this out strong.
Well, if you wanna do this last zip, the alien zip, and you don't have item 1, or ammo problems like you say, I really woulda take this ammo, so.
I mean, MadMega definitely does not know that resisting frame is kind of stuck, trying to farm up, well, it looks like both health energy and item energy at this point, but just
meanwhile, your favorite bubble is the weakness.
Oh, wow!
And we see that mashing got into Alien's head or shoulder, and GG to MadMega with an official SRL time of 40 minutes 36 seconds.
Meanwhile, that was another vanilla weakness seed for the Wily bosses. Good job, game. Good job.
Well, 1 out of 5 isn't bad. You know, we got random boo-beam turrets. But other than that, it looked like, well, Wily Machine, I guess, in the randomizer has a fairly high chance of being Buster Weak as well.
Yeah, I think Creed can confirm it's 50%. 50, right?
Well, we had a very lengthy discussion about percentages with weaknesses. I'd rather not discuss about that again. And the sad thing is, I used to be a math major.
Oh, resisting frame. Now, see, what we see on MadMegaX's side with the bubble getting a little up close and personal with the alien is less hazardous to your health than trying to kiss a dragon, as we saw on resisting frame's side.
Yeah, do not try to tame your dragon. It's not gonna go home with you. So, yeah. Alien actually does 20 damage, so it's pretty good compared to the dragon.
Yeah, you can at least survive that hit. But the dragon, I think, is a one-hit KO no matter what way you slice it.
Well, we have a quick moment. We're going to try to get MadMega in for a quick interview, talk to our champion as he beats Resisting Frame 2-0 and is about to move on in the bracket, while as a result, Resisting Frame has unfortunately been eliminated from the tournament.
Meanwhile, while Creed sets up this interview, what did you think about this match, Rico? Just tell me your honest opinion. What do you think? It's not over yet because Frame hasn't finished yet, but what do you think in general?
Oh, I think it's just Resisting Frame just kind of unraveling here in the Wily stage. It was definitely, yeah, it looked a lot closer at the start, and then it just looked like Resisting Frame just made a mistake, and you know, it just kind of had a little deja vu of Game 1, where Resisting Frame got behind and unfortunately stayed behind, as it looks like Resisting Frame has forfeited match 2 here.
Yeah, looks like that dragon was the bane of him. Meanwhile, GG to both runners, but we have one of them here, which is MadMega. How are you doing, MadMega?
Doing great, guys. How are you?
We're fine. We just wanted to hear from you. What do you think about your race?
Honestly, the first race I was relatively happy with that. A few mistakes that I would have liked to have cleaned up. But the second race was definitely a lot sloppier for me. I guess the bigger thing there was I really feel like the dragon fight weighed me down. I found that the bubble was an effective weakness, but the range on the bubble was just not very good. So burned a couple of E-tanks, and turns out if I would have just switched over to Boomerang, could have burned right through them. So I feel like I wasted a good bit of time there, but that's, that happens. So
yeah, your opponent resisting frame actually had the same problem. He was using the bubble, and I don't know if it was by accident or not, may have not realized the dragon has a secondary weakness.
Yeah, as far as I know, the dragon always has two things that can hurt it at least. So I figured when I ran out of I was firing bubble after I'd run out of energy for it, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And luckily, the next thing on the list was the Boomerang, but it was too bad that didn't start there.
Well, yeah, as you can see on stream, we have Resisting Frame unfortunately forfeiting the race, seeing that the race was pretty much over. Just decided to just cut his losses and just accept his fate. As we know, and repeating that, with the 2-0 victory for you, MadMega, you have succeeded in continuing in the bracket while Resisting Frame is unfortunately eliminated. But GG's to Resisting Frame for trying his hardest, trying to keep up pace. Had some good laughs, good time, and we just appreciate him for joining the tournament. And hopefully he'll continue mixing around with the Mega Man 2 randomizer in future streams.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I haven't played as much of the randomizer lately as I'd like, but it's just a lot of fun to get in there and tool around and play one of my all-time favorite games, effectively blind, every time, which is, or at least partially blind every time, which is really nice. It's a lot of fun. So definitely, shout outs to Duckfist and to all the guys playing randomizer, the randomizer community right now, because it's just a lot of fun.
Definitely, and as Deadpool says, maximum effort. And what I always ask this, and it's always good to know, as a winner, what do you recommend to the people that want to play the randomizer, want to try it, and have seen the randomizer and found some stuff that don't like and they like? What do you think about the randomizer? Tell the guys, what do you think?
The big thing I think for me is as long as you have a good foundation in Mega Man 2, you understand the mechanics, because there are absolutely places where it helps to know, pausing slows your fall rate and how to trigger certain zips and things like that. If you know that stuff, you can have a lot of fun with the randomizer because it switches everything around. But that's, I would say that before you pick it up, tool around in the base game and make sure you're comfortable with all of the things that are in there, and make sure you understand the basic mechanics of how Mega Man moves and knockback works and that kind of stuff. Because if you don't know, the randomizer just would be super punishing, I think. So I'd highly recommend getting a solid like Mega Man 2 101 class, I guess, kind of thing.
That's a really good tip. And do you have something in particular that you dislike in the randomizer that you don't particularly like?
Only when I run into things like the dragon where I'm kicking myself afterwards, where it's like, why didn't I just try something else because it was such a pain to use? But that's just looking back at thinking, I should have known better. But in the heat of the race, sometimes you don't make the best decisions.
Well, I'll leave some questions to the other guys as well. So, Creed Freak, or if you have some questions for our winner here, just let it out.
Rico, you got anything to mention?
I think the one thing I wanted to bring up was actually already brought up with the second game, that dragon fight in particular. when you see an item that's effective in the way the bubble is, well, we already, you've already explained, how likely are you to switch out of that?
In all honesty, I mean, I burned through the entire energy bar for the bubble, and I think that I'm hoping that this will be a learning experience, and that the next time that I come into something like that, where something's effective, especially for the wily bosses, it's one thing I think for the robot masters, because they're a little less dangerous, I'd argue, but quite a few of the wily stage bosses are. And the dragon is especially bad because there's a lot of things that can kill you there that, aren't damage. He's a one-hit kill if you touch him, and you can obviously fall to your death. So those are... That particular boss especially, if you have something that works and it isn't easy to hit him with, you might be better off moving on and trying to find something that's a little easier, because otherwise you can run into the situation where you burn all your E-tanks, and then if you still die, I mean, that the death there is super punishing. I think it's like, what is it, 90 seconds or something along those lines, if especially if you're low on items. I mean, it can be super punishing, so it's always best to, I think in retrospect, it's probably best to look for something else in that case.
Well, do you think that there's anything else that you can kind of apply and go, well, I think I kind of learned anything else from this match in either of the games, where going forward, you're going to end up having 2 more matches as the bracket, the final draw bracket resets. Everybody will go back into the winner's side. Do you think there's anything that you've learned other than Dragon that you could, go forward and apply?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, Frico, you've watched a few of my matches, and I think Prodigy probably have too. I'm not sure if you have, Creed, but I'm really consistent at my like routing usually. Like, I like to start with flash and then I go to quick, and so I try to do the same routing because I'm trying to grab E-tanks on my way, because I know that they come in handy. And most of the time when I play Randomizer, even in races, I tend to play conservatively because I don't know what I'm going to run into. But I mismenued in the first game, and it actually ended up being a pretty effective route. And the only downside was that I couldn't have done any of the zips in Woodman stage. But in all honesty, if I don't have the right weapons, I'm not going for it anyways. So it might be, it might be time to reconsider my routing. That's definitely something that I should consider for moving onwards for sure.
Now that you brought up the routing, I would like to ask you a couple questions. Do you always start with, Flashman, or have you considered Quickman, or I think it was Creed brought up Metalman?
Those would be the other two that I'd probably start with. I try to save metal for a little later if possible, just because in the event that I have a good item 1, that's a long zip that can save a good bit of time. Bubble would be another one that I might do first, because that zip is triggerable Buster only, and it can also save a good bit of time. And also, if in the unfortunate event that you get the fan guys there and that locks you, you don't really lose a ton of time. You just have to reset, and it's not the end of the world. But the only other one that I've really thought about doing first is probably Quick, just because, again, you can grab a 1-up and you can grab an E-tank in Quick, and it gives you a nice little bit of especially on that first Robot Master, because if you get, certain bosses with the enemy AI, they'll want to hug you and just be on top of you the whole time, and it can be hard to get shots in on them when all you have is the Buster. So having that E-tank in your back pocket can make, that first interaction with a boss like that a lot more tolerable.
Okay, just an observation, because, I've been doing a lot of the commentating. for most of these matches. I notice the Quickman E-Tank seems to be a little more free than the Flashman E-Tank. Do you think that might change your initial routing?
I mean, it definitely is freer. The one positive to the Flashman E-Tank is that if you're lucky enough to get a seed where Buster does damage to the walls,
The crash walls.
to the crash walls, you can that E-Tank is actually probably no slower than the normal route. It's maybe, you know, a half a second or so. But generally, like the second seed would have had that, but because the fan guys were there, I couldn't even stay up there because every time you jump it just blows you back, and I didn't have the timing right. So that's the other thing you can run into is that the stars can align and then immediately you know, mess it up for you as well. So
well, that's why I brought up Quick versus Flash, because you have the enemies that can kind of get in the way on the Flashman stage, but you don't have that on the Quickman stage.
right, yeah, and that's probably a good reason to consider switching over. Also, both of those stages don't have any pits that you can fall into, so that's one of the other reasons why I tend to start with both of those. They don't have any pits or anything like that, so they're nice. It's really just worrying about enemies, and in the Quickman stage, worrying about the beams. But if you've done that stage enough times, and I sure have, I don't really worry about the beams that much anymore. I haven't gotten caught by one of those in a long time, so that probably means the next time I'll play, I'll get caught. So
I was gonna say, famous last words. You're just
exactly
giving me, you know, a little fuel for the fire there for when you're in the final bracket draw and you get.
Yeah, I was gonna say remember that for when I get clipped in my next match. Be sure to point out I said exactly that.
I'll have the clip ready and waiting. Now that we've basically discussed the beginning of the routes, are there any stages that you tend to look at and go, all right, well, I don't have any of the items yet. I'm going to go into this stage instead of a different one that you would consider if you had items?
The only one that I'd probably consider doing that with is Heatman stage. Crashman, he's not super scary. That stage isn't super scary without item 3. And even item... basically, it would just be a question of whether I do Heat or Crash first. It's really nice to have item 3 for setting up the initial zip in Heatman stage, just because then that's a pretty long zip and it saves a good bit of time. I don't even really care about item 2 there. The Yoku blocks aren't super scary, but that first sequence where you're jumping over where the crash walls and the Yoku blocks and that whole thing, if I can zip over that, that's what I want to do every time. I don't want to be messing with that if I can help it.
I don't think anybody does, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright, well, I think that's everything that I have. Creed, you have anything, or we gonna let MadMega go here?
Actually, I think you pretty much stated it. Both you and Talonless pretty much just stated all the important questions, and we got all the important answers from MadMega. So I guess for the most part, we can just begin wrapping this up. So once again, GG's to you, MadMega, for moving on. Hopefully we'll continue to see you do just as well as you did in these two runs as you continue on in the next bracket.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm hoping. I need to practice a little bit. I think I've got quite a good. There's a lot of really good players that have moved on. That I'm gonna have a lot of work ahead of me to compete with those guys. So looking forward to it.
Well, just a friendly reminder. Now, there are a couple of guys that got eliminated, but whoever qualified got moved to a newer bracket that we're gonna reshuffle, and they're gonna be all in winners bracket. Everybody is gonna be in winners bracket, the rest of the guys that survived massacre. So they're gonna have 2 matches each. If you're gonna lose, you're gonna go to the losers bracket along with the other guys, and the winners will continue on, and there are no other reshuffles. So that's gonna be the rest of the tournament. We have 1 match, I think the guys can confirm, 1 match left, and we're done with qualifiers.
Yes, we got one more elimination match set up, and that is for tomorrow afternoon. It's gonna be at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's gonna be Metalo and Kotoho on Speed Gaming 4. So after that, we'll have all our initial races completed, and we'll be moving on to the reshuffled second bracket, where the double elimination will soon take place.
And everything is gonna be best of 3 again, excluding the grand finals. The grand finals gonna be best of 5. So I'm gonna be expecting a lot of Mega Man.
Well, so pack a lunch if you make it to the finals, or the grand finals, I should say.
Well, my expectations are not so big, but thank you for believing in me.
Hey, you get a favorable bracket draw, and who knows, you could find your way all the way through. You never know.
Anything can happen. Everything's reset in the second bracket, so who knows? You may get lucky.
Hey, the game's even reset every time, so it's everything's starting over.
By the way, a last question, because before we close all this up, what are your expectations? Because let's say every runner has his own expectations. I want to go through semifinals, quarterfinals. I want to go to this place. This is my place. What do you expect you to go to?
Honestly, I'm happy that I've gotten to this point. I've won a few matches. I lost my match against you, Prodigy, handily, I might add, which certainly showed me that I have some work to do. You know, I'm just hoping that I can work on this and get a little bit better. And at the very for me in these, as long as I have good competitive races, I'll feel pretty good about it. So I like I said, I think I've got some work ahead of me to make sure that what I do next in the next bracket is I'm competitive with whoever I'm seated against.
Well, thank you very much for your interview, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna beat me next time. So yeah, and thanks to Creed and Frico for especially to Frico for covering for me and my problems, and to Creed for his amazing commentary and endurance. And thank you everybody for watching, and to the Speed Gaming guys for helping me out and helping this randomizer tournament is possible. And if you guys have any closing words, now this is the time.
I think you missed Charlie Boy for running this whole tournament. Aside from that, I think you covered all the bases for getting out all the thank yous.
We also got to thank Duckfist for creating the randomizer to begin with. Without him, we wouldn't have the randomizer. We wouldn't have this tournament to even base this on. So I would like to thank the creator of this randomizer. So thank you, Duckfist.
Just thanks to you guys for being up a little late, at least on my side of the world, and commentating the race. And thanks to everybody watching and who watched. Hopefully it was a good show.
See, that's why I have you guys to remind me things. And thanks again to everybody. Have a good night, and I hope you have lots of fun. See you again tomorrow.
Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.